Behold, Internet. It's the jig. So in making the Combine helmet from Half-Life 2, there is a slight problem. As you see, there is some roughly equally spaced lines on the as the detail in the eyeball. So how do you make that? Now, I had an idea of how to do it because I had a very useful book. It is let's go here. Gundam Scratch Build Manual 2. It is a wonderful book in case you like making stuff, whether from model kits or anything else. It's by Mitsuaki Misaki, and it's available on Amazon Japan. They'll ship to North America, no problem. Now, this just goes over everything from styrene to urethane resin to polyester putty, which is Bondo, epoxy putty, vacuum forming. Just the most useful book in the world. And in here, he has a way of making equally spaced details. Where is it? Right there. And it's basically using plastic gears, as you can see, different tooth numbers, and he basically makes his own indexing plates. In machining, there's such a thing as an indexing head to get regular spaced things like gear teeth. And you can see in this, he has the gear, he has a stopper on it, and in this case, he's doing regular spaced holes so that he can drill a hole, advance to the next one, and you have regular spaced holes. There's all the possibilities that you can do. And it's not just for doing discs and stuff. You can see he also builds a box, and he can scribe equally spaced lines onto tubes and shafts and stuff like that. You can do it for nozzles, and it's basically endless possibilities. So that's exactly what I did. Now, to get the indexing head itself, you can see that disc in there with the regular spaced holes. That I had to do on a laser cutter. I made it's 63 holes because I counted, well, the texture quality from 2004 is kind of iffy. And in the center, where there's almost a symmetry line, it kind of blurs together, so it could be 64, but I decided to go with 63 because that's gonna help me mask any slight errors in how symmetrical my whole helmet is. So, and here we are. As you can see, there's the center and there's the stopper. So I can just lift the thing, advance it, and here, this is built out of acrylic, and this is a scribing saw. It is a part of a photo etch set by Hasegawa. As you can see, it has various shaped saws, and that's where the blade was, the long saw. And there's the jig. Okay, so you set the part on one hole, get the saw, scribe the line, and then lift up the part and advance it. And there you have the freshly scribed line. And you just repeat. Okay, so I did 3 passes total. The first one was just to ensure that I have a guideline at every spot in case the jig falls apart. That way I can continue manually with that guideline. And the other 2 passes were for consistency and depth. So, very nice, I'm happy now. And there it is. Is that in focus? It's actually looking half decent. Yeah, the insidemost ring still needs to be sanded, shaped a little bit, then the lens. But otherwise, the main shaping is somehow done. Okay, and that should be done. Yeah, you can see I've widened the panel lines with a file, cleaned them up a bit. Now they're all pretty consistent. Also sanded the inner eye. There's like a pinhole or 2, but otherwise this is done and ready for paint. The only problem is, as you can see how the squares, they're actually always perpendicular to that center line, and on mine they're okay right here, and even though they're all aligned into the center from the outside, when you consider them in reference to the line, they're all skewed. So technically this is inaccurate, but you know what, it's 1 week until the convention, and if this really bothers me, I'll fix it afterwards. Otherwise, I'm considering this done. Yay. And here it is with the first coat of primer. Looks quite nice. Okay, and here's the reason why I did 63 divisions instead of 64, because as you can see, let's do this. As you can see at the bottom of the eye, you have this very obvious panel line. So that has to line up with the line on the eyeball. And because this helmet is not entirely symmetrical at the top, as you can see, that ridge does not exactly line up with the eye where it should in the middle of that part. But because of that, because it's in the middle of that part, it's not going to be as noticeable, hopefully. Because I tried fixing that ridge many times, but it's not just the ridge. I think the main eye socket is slightly offset. So I think this is going to be good enough for the most part. Oh well. Hopefully have this painted by the end of the weekend, because it's slightly after midnight, and that means exactly a week until the con. Yay. I'm surprisingly happy with this. Usually I constantly just get tired of screwing up, but hey, this is looking pretty good. Whatever isn't good, I'll fix later, after the con.